It is the 17th day of December 2024, top of the morning from wherever you are joining us this beautiful Tuesday morning. And you know what or how we do it here on Family Matters. It is about Parenting Tuesday, and today we are discussing a very, very important topic, which if you have or you are in such a situation, then you're in the right place just to get to learn about this. And it is about raising a child with intellectual disability. And I'm joined in studio by a father who's walked this journey, navigated it through challenges. And we are here also with an expert who will be talking to us, probably even giving us solutions and free consultancy for those who will be affected or are in this situation. So welcome, or help me join my guest in studio. And before that, just also joining the conversation by joining the socials 20316 07863 316 to joining the conversation. Send in your comments, questions, and also compliments. Karibuni sana to the studio, Sam and Prof. And I'll start with you, Sam. Please introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, my name's Samuel Mugedi Jero, a son from Ebu. My residential place is Bahati. Father to Elias Kiranga, disabled son, mentally disabled.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Asante sana, karibu. Yeah. Prof.
Yeah, I'm Professor Catherine Gashuda, a counseling psychologist. I come from Kenya Counseling and Psychological Association. It's an umbrella body of counseling standards for the counselors and psychologists within the country, and also work at Kenya Institute of Business and Counseling Studies.
Okay. All right, Prof. And probably you may want to start us off just to help our viewers and listeners understand what is, when someone says, like he's saying, the child is mentally handicapped or, intellectual disability, what is it about really?
When we talk about the intellectual disability, we are talking about that from the onset that the child is not within what we call the normal development of a child intellectually. And therefore the child will be diagnosed with different conditions like autism. And this means that the child is not going to be able to move through life, being able to surmount the normal milestones that other children go through. Like, for example, that they are not able to talk at the time that the others are talking, or even to move themselves at the time that others are crawling or standing or feeding themselves. That means that the parents will have to be prepared. And I say prepared because they need to accept, so that they can prepare themselves for the long life ahead, where they have to be acceptant of this child, the way the child is, the way the child has come, and the paces that the child has to go through, because you cannot push the child through the developmental milestones, but you have to be able to see what are the abilities that the child has, so that you can keep on nurturing those, so that the children can be able to move at their own pace.
Okay. Very, very well said. That's a very great introduction. And Baba Elias, at what point, Sam, did you get to know that or notice that Elias is not okay? At what age?
At the age of around 8 to 1 year. That's the time.
8 months to 1 year?
Yeah, from time of birth to the age of about 1 year. Okay. Because by the moment the child was born, he could not even, at the age of 6, he could not even stand himself. Okay. When you raise the child like this, he could not stand for himself. So we discussed that the child is not able to even to support himself. So we decided to visit Kiambu.
Okay, hospital?
Hospital.
Okay.
That's where they discussed that the child has a problem with the ribs.
Okay.
So they give us the the magnesium. They told us to go buy some greens, supplements. Then we started there.
Okay.
Then the journey continued. But they told us, didn't the child cry when he was born? He didn't cry. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a prolonged labor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a prolonged labor, pain. Then the mama could not give birth at that moment.
Right.
So by the time he was born, alikuwa amechoka. He was so tired.
Okay.
So that was the major problem. That's the time we discovered
the diagnosis. That's when you got the diagnosis. The child
he has some disabilities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Daktari, he Prof, sorry.
That's okay.
He talks about that point that he didn't even cry. I know you're not an expert in matters, but does that mean anything in relation to the situation or the condition that the boy has?
You know, when we talk about delivery complications, and the child gets tired, the brain gets affected, and therefore the child is affected from the word go.
Okay.
Because now the cause of the disability or the condition that the child has developed is coming from the kind of delivery or the process of that delivery. And research tells us and even experience tells us that when the delivery is complicated, then it has a way of affecting the child, and therefore the child can come out with malformations.
And so this young child, what are some of the signs or symptoms that a parent may be able to pick and just say there's a problem here? Apart from what he said, his was about weak limbs. What other symptoms are there or signs?
What I'm hearing from some is that from the onset, they didn't see it as abnormal when the child cried from the onset. And I think the medics and the caregivers should actually bring the parents to speed in regard to what has happened. Because if the child did not cry, then that was a major issue that needed to be brought to the attention of the parents, so that from the beginning they can start now picking up the other developments, because we actually need to tick that is this happening, because they are normal developmental stages or milestones that children are supposed to have. Is the child continually crying? What is happening to the child? Is the child able to eat? Is the child able to sit by themselves at the point they should be sitting down? They needed to be guided so that they can also monitor the child, for them to be able to see how the growth and development of the child is happening. But there seems to have been some gaps that happened in the beginning that needed to be brought to the attention of the parents, and especially when it means what it means when a child has not cried.
Okay, wow. Sam, so this child is here with you, and I'm sure it is not, you know, a walk in the park. It is not a walk in the park. So on a normal day, what are some of the challenges that you go through on a daily basis?
On a daily basis, the challenges I normally go through is that, you know, the child, you need to help him in doing some common activities like bathing. You need to assist him. But in the beginning, he could not even go to the toilet. You could assist him to go to the toilet. He could not even stand. We will help him to go to stand. Even feeding, he could not feed himself. By the age of 1 year to 5 months. You know, he needs to be putting something there. So by that time, he could not do that. So we need to assist him doing those common activities. Speech, he could not even speak. He could say J, something like that. No, I want to, only one word. So you need to I needed to help him do some major activities. The other thing is that while he's walking, you need to be so careful. So he might fall down.
Even now that he's 14?
Even now, when he's running, he falls down.
Okay.
Yeah, so you need to we need to be very observant.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So even like, for example, he goes to school? Does he
goes to school?
Okay. All right.
But in the beginning, I took him to a private school. By the moment he gets to about 5 years,
yeah,
I assisted him. He could not even, the teachers could not understand that this child needs a special need.
Okay.
So we had to take him out of the private school to the
special school.
No, not the special school. There's somewhere we go to for
therapy.
No, not therapy. Assessment, for assessment.
Okay.
So that's the place they discussed that this child could not go to a normal class. So they transfers to integrated school. That's the time he went to Martin Luther Primary School.
All right.
Yeah.
Prof, so in this kind of, you have this kind of a child kind of situation, what are some of the treatments that you as an expert probably, he has come with his son, what are some of the treatments probably you'd start with or, work with to just help this child?
As we look at it from a more psychological perspective,
yes,
and I know the doctors will look at it from the more medical perspective, so that we can support the child to be able to accept themselves much more. I remember that in our church, because I serve in a ministry called Touching Lives Family Ministry.
Okay.
And we realize that parents are not bringing the children to school, those who are having the physical disabilities or those with special needs.
Okay.
And we decided to go to Joytown and ask Joytown to give us children to come to our church. And we were given about 70 children to come to our church, and what we wanted the church to realize is that these children need to be brought out to where the people are. They need to be integrated back to the people, so that they can feel they have a space, they have their place in the communities. And we did a lot of interviews with some of those children, and what I see is that even when they are called by the pastor or whoever to go in front and present, they still come and present. And therefore we need to give them confidence. We need to help them to realize they have their space. They are differently abled, but they still have their own place. And that they can feel they are important and they have a purpose in this life, even when they are differently abled. Walking the journey with the children at their own levels and walking the journey with the parents. I'm liking the fact that Samuel and the family, they have really accepted this child.
Right.
But it started with them telling themselves, this is our child.
Yeah.
And we need to accept this child, Arias, the way he is. And it is only from that acceptance that you can be able to see that these children are accepting themselves. And even when they are struggling to be able to move alongside so that they can be able to take care of themselves and to continue doing like studies, that they will still be confident, I can do it to this level, and I don't need to be assisted by anyone. What I can do, I need to do it. So the psychological or the mental or what we call the cognitive ability to be able also to accept themselves will come from the parents. And the parents also need to be provided psychological care and support, because number one, you are taking care of this child in a lifespan. There is no time that you can say, I'm going to put down taking care of Arias. He is needing you in the areas that he is not able to carry out activities for himself.
Right.
So the parents will burn out. The parents will be stressed.
Okay.
You know, just how you feel, I want to step out of this space and first of all recharge a little bit or service myself a little bit so that I can come back for areas and continue with this journey. Sometimes people are made to feel like they are selfish. If they say, like mom can say, let me take some time off and Baba Areas allow me like to have a retreat, even go back to my own parents or even go to your parents or go somewhere where I can be able to recharge and come back and have the energy to be able to take care of this child. That moment of self-care is very critical. And sometimes even the schedules for this child need to be such that every member of the family is taking responsibility so that we can retire dad a little bit, we can give mom a little bit of free time to be able to refresh again and regain again so that they can come back to this space and be able to care.
What you said is very important, and it will bring me to the next question. Sam, how do you then, from what Dr. is saying, it's very important to take some time off. Do you do that? And if you do, how do you do it with Mama back home?
I've realized something that for some time I've not so my wife sometimes she's so stressed because the child does not know how to care for himself. But there's something I found from the doctor that by the moment you get stressed, you need to get some free time just relax. You go relax, you feel good, then you come back to the child being a renewed person. You know, sometimes like now, Mama was so stressed, she could even kill herself. Because she was so stressed. I was asking her, why are you stressed so much? Because I told you she was in the hospital. By the moment I was in the Oshako, I found Mama was so stressed. She couldn't say, I'm going to kill myself. And by the moment I was going back, I was going home. She was so good. I don't know where the stress came from. I thought sometimes it comes, you, Papelius, come. The son could not accept to bathe himself. So I have to come from my kiosk where I'm doing work. So I come back to the house. I help the boys to bathe himself because he's so notorious that he could not accept Mama's advice to go and bathe. So I thought my Mama could be so stressed or what is wrong.
But he listens to you?
He listens to me. Sometimes I'm so tough. Now there is another guy tells me that this is the age where you need to act. But sometimes I know that the boy, he has some disability. He needs to be cautious. When you understand, the boy is so good. But when you tell him cautious, small, kidogo, he gets well and then
so what do you do yourself to get off? So do you take that time off at least, or are you now learning that it is important?
Now I'm learning. I need to take some time. Go and relax so that the stress goes away. Then you refresh, you become a new one. From the doctor right away. That's something I've learned right in the right moment now. But in the previous days, I work throughout. I've never spent some time that we are going somewhere to relax, but this season I might do that.
It's a realization that as human beings we are not machines. We cannot have overdrive. And remember, this child, even when it comes to emotional regulation, they are not able to regulate their anger, regulate their aggression, you know, because when they get irritated, they can go overboard, depending on what is the brain damage that happened. It may have touched the organs that regulate the emotions, the organs that regulate the cognition, the mental processing of the information and all, because we need also to, he talked about an assessment. And I know Kenya Institute of Special Education does assessment for those kind of children, so that we can be able to know what are we tackling, what are we dealing with, what are the malformations that we are dealing with, so that it can be very clear what are we working on. So that if the child has emotional dysregulation, then the parents will focus on helping areas to manage anger, to manage irritation, you know, whatever it is, what are the emotions that bug him? What are the emotions that give him difficulty? And we see children who are intellectually challenged, they can really be irritated because people are not like understanding them. And so because of that, they get aggressive and angry because why are you not understanding me? What is making you not understand me? And so if parents understand that this child is having emotional dysregulation, they can come across this child to provide the kind of care that is required.
I love how you've just connected with what he said and you know, probably like almost giving that solution. And we are going to come back to this very amazing informative conversation about just every child deserving a chance, and Elias has been given a chance by the parents, and this is just by accepting him as he is, as Prof had mentioned. Prof, there are two questions here and I believe they are for you. The person says, good morning Sally, Prof and Baba Elias. I have a mentally challenged child, but my wife does not support me as much as I believe a parent should. What should I do about this? And then after you answer that, then there's one about struggling to accept you know, this situation because the son is not making any progress. So probably we'll start with the one for the wife not really kind of supporting the spouse.
I think from the onset, when a child is differently abled, the parents, and I think community and even the church needs to support such parents so that they can be able to get to a level where they can come into terms with, I have a child who is different. We know how our cultures can be very harsh. Because they will say, Mumelogwa, have you been bewitched? You are the ones who are a problem. God is punishing you because of your sins or your father's sins. And therefore it becomes very difficult. You already have your own issues in regard to this is a differently abled child. And then communities are coming to make statements that are very lash, very unfair, and very judgmental to these parents. And therefore it becomes very difficult really to move to a place of acceptance with a community or communities that are not understanding what it means to bring up a differently abled child. And so mom needs to be assisted to actually work it out for herself so that she can be able to get to a level where she can say, by the way, this child will never change. The child will always be a special needs child, and therefore I need to accept the child just like I would have wanted to be accepted myself if I was the one who had special needs. Mom to be brought to do that because she cannot be able to support the husband if she has not come to the place of acceptance. And you know, just like death, we start with getting shocked that my child is different from other children. You get shocked, and then you get angry. There is that time of anger. You are angry with God. You are even searching your family tree, and you're not very sure what you are seeing in the family tree. And sometimes you're able to see a lot even in the family tree, and you're wondering, is it because Is it because I remember I can see my family where I'm coming from, or I'm not seeing anything from the family where I'm coming from? And then you get to a place of, God, you're bargaining now. Please, let this child be different, and I will tithe.
Exactly.
I will come and do. And you promise God a lot of things. You promise you're going to be good, and the child should be good. And then you realize nothing is changing. It is still the same child. And you can get depressed. And maybe this mom is still at that point of being depressed. And therefore she's not able to pick it up for herself, and she's not able to pick it up for the child. Sometimes depression can come in aggression and anger. Right? So it is not seeming like you're down there and you're not bathing and you're not eating. Sometimes it doesn't come out like that. But it can come with a lot of aggression and anger and frustration and a lot of stress. These are the symptoms that are being seen by people when they are looking at this person. But when they are facilitated to accept, they are able to say, by the way, I'm humbled. And I actually repent of the many sins that I have committed in the way I've treated this child, or maybe the dad and everyone else around me. I would want to really make amends so that I can pick it up and gallantly move forward.
I love what, there's something you mentioned earlier as you're answering that question, and I could see Samuel really agreeing with it about being bewitched. Samuel, have you experienced something like that when you had Elias and there were all these challenges? Have you had the society talking back and saying, or even neighbors,
sometimes the society does some such questions because you find that something that this is from your old age, old age parents, you know, it's generic, you know. Sometimes you do face those challenges. Even those something you are being bewitched, those are the challenges. You face such questions from various people, but the fact is that you believe that God is there for you. Such things, if you bring those things into your heart, you'll be so much stressed. Because you won't, you see that I'm going to seek some assistance from somewhere else. So the moment I say myself, I have seen the child the way he is. I accept the way God made him. So and I agree and accept. That's why I do tell my wife that accept the boy the way he is. We can never change.
And exactly what Prof is saying, also accepting makes a big difference. But you had also talked about your wife, you know, just being very frustrated, in anger, and wanting to do bad things, you know, to herself. Did you seek therapy at some point? Did you know about that you can seek therapy, or did you do it?
The child and the mama.
The two of you, because of that stress, you know, the stress.
I didn't understand that I should seek therapy. That's why I'm learning something that needs to be. What kind of therapy am I supposed to do? Because is it mind therapy, or is it other emotional, or is it the touch therapy?
So
you know,
Daktari will be Prof will be able to answer that.
Am I supposed to do? Me and my wife, no, that's the kind of therapy which I don't understand the way it should come out.
You know, when things happen within the family, it can even be a loss of a loved one, or even the giving birth to a child who is having special needs. You know, that disrupts your hopes, because you hoped and expected that things are going to be different. But what now has visited you is something that has taken you aback, you know? And therefore, you need to get support. And this is what we are calling the psychological support, or the professional help, or the counseling, or call it that you need to be emotionally supported. The reason for this is so that you can put it on the table. What are we going to be dealing with? How far into the future are we going to be supporting this child? And you talked about disconnection, that you are going to be aging as you go along as the parents. But this child is going to be growing, and if this child gets a way of taking care of himself, then even when you're old and you cannot be able to hold him, that he will get to a level, he'll be able to take care of the basic things around himself, that he can be able to bathe himself, dress himself, he can eat, you know, the basic things that a human being needs to do, that he needs to be able to do that. You know, your wife got stressed. Why? Maybe because she invested the whole of herself into taking care of areas and was not able to give herself a little bit of a moment to be there for herself. You know how you get swallowed into a situation, therefore you don't have a life of your own. And because of this gravitated into her feeling, what is the meaning and purpose of life? Let me take away my life because it has no meaning. If she was getting psychological support, she wouldn't have gotten to that kind of a level. So periodically, parents with children with special needs or going through some special and different situations, they require therapy so that they can be helped to stabilize, you know. When you stabilize, you feel, good. I am okay. I am okay now. I can do it. It is different from what other people are contending with, but I can do it. So that therapy is very important, Sam, for any family, even families who are not going through difficulties or going through adversities, they still need therapy to be able to evaluate where they are at and what they need to do differently, because we need to be solid in how we handle ourselves and handle each other and handle our families. What is the last time that maybe someone said, the way you talk to each other is not okay? But we need someone to come and tell us, it's not okay the way you're talking to each other. You're putting each other down, you're shooting each other down. You need to stop doing that. Let's focus on Elias. And I'm not saying that's what happens to you, but I'm saying sometimes we don't see ourselves as we become dysfunctional in the way we are handling special matters within our homes, and we can even kill each other because of we are diverting from it is Elias we are taking care of, and we need to come up with what Sarah is calling, do you have a plan? Do you have how you need to take care of this child? Like come January, how are you going to take care of Elias up to December? So that we can have some of you getting refreshed by having some little retreats so that they can take care of themselves and then they come back to this.
Okay. Dr. Online again.
Yeah, that's that.
Okay. There's someone, a lady here, it's quite a text, but I will try and be brief. Hello, I have a disabled sibling, dumb, deaf and blind. He's a young adult and seeks to pleasure himself sexually when emotions are high. I have seen him being beaten to stop that behavior. Please talk about how to help. My dad left us in 2015. It's hard, especially financially. We try to help with house chores. I also wonder how we do dental care for him. He feels uncomfortable being brushed. His teeth are now black. So it is someone who the young man has an aggressive behavior and they don't know how to go about it, and also just personal hygiene probably is also proving to be a challenge.
We have professionals who are supposed to handle the different aspects of this child.
Right.
Whether we are talking about dental care, can the child be submitted to a doctor who can support the child and guide the family.
Okay.
If the teeth are very sensitive, the doctor is going to say the teeth are very sensitive and therefore you can use this kind of a brush.
So there has to be a
you
reason
can
why
use this kind of toothpaste.
Yeah.
I think they need guidance and they need to be guided by the professionals.
Okay.
Now we are just giving an example because the child has not been assessed by the professional, by the relevant professional, so that the family can be guided on how to take care. So it is important for a dentist to prescribe what needs to happen to that child and to be able to authoritatively tell the family this is what is happening. And sometimes the doctor can say this is what is happening and the family realizes it's not working. But the doctor is willing to change, or you can change doctors so that you can be able to have information that is going to help you to be able to move forward. Because even professionals are gifted differently, and therefore it's good to talk about your situation the way they are talking about the situation by writing. So this is very nice from them that they are saying we have a problem here, and we are saying let the professionals do their work. When it comes to the masturbation, Ere has talked about the child being 14 years.
Some, 16 almost.
Sorry, 16. That is, Areas is the one who is 14, 16? 16 years, an adolescent now. And therefore, sexually, they are active. And the one that we are talking about in that message is sexually active. What do they do when they are sexually active? And they are not able to have relationships like other children do. And again, we need to bring in the psychologists, so that the psychologists can be able to do an evaluation and guide appropriately on what is happening. And probably even a gynecologist can be brought in. But we are saying let's allow the professionals to do their work and to guide appropriately, so that families don't get overwhelmed in the way they are overwhelmed. And I know sometimes, like in an African context, we say we don't have the money to take the child to a doctor.
But we spoke about that.
We have public hospitals. We have even doctors within our churches. Go to some churches and healthcare workers are told to go and present in front of the church, and they move and they present in front of the church. We can utilize the ones that we know in our faith institutions. Those healthcare workers, can they guide you? Can they guide you? Can they be there? I find, like in my church, the congregants will consult me as a psychologist. This and this is happening, and I'm not charging them. I am in the church. That is where I give back to community, that's and therefore let them reach out to the ones that are there within their faith institutions, and I imagine they will guide.
Fantastic, very well answered, Prof. Asante. Samuel, do you have other children apart from Elias?
Yes.
Do you have other children?
I have one.
How old?
He's around this. He's in grade 2. That's around 8 years.
How do they relate? How?
They are very social.
They're
but
friends.
Sometimes the small boy is very punctual. He says that Elias could not reach him. So sometimes he does some tuseme
sema tu
nasema kama dharau hivi unaona. So he would run faster, then Elias could not reach him. So at that time Elias was challenges. So he knows that Elias could not reach him, so I can run. Sometimes they do fight for maybe the remote for TV. So no, he knows that he can select the best channels. Elias could put it with the remote, then the TV goes off. So that challenge, it
is there.
It is there.
Dr. Prof, you want to say something?
You know, in every home, children will have their own library.
Yeah.
We talk about sibling library. They are competing with each other. The one would want to show the other one, me, I know you, you don't know, and all. But I think this younger one needs to be brought to a level to appreciate that the brother is differently abled, so that he can have a bit of empathy to him, because it doesn't seem like he is able to have empathy. We are not saying he sympathizes, but he has empathy. He can allow him to play around with the remote for a little while, and then he can take it also, giving him a little bit of time to feel he has his own space, because we said we need to help them to see they have purpose.
In life.
Yeah, in life. And therefore the sibling library needs to be handled. When it is not handled at the right time, you know, you explain to the child, your brother is older than you, differently abled, is not able to do the things you do because of that difference, because the organs are not as developed as your organs are developed, because yours are continually getting developed, and all of us need to assist him so that he can be able to live a good life. And we imagine when we are going to be very old that you can assist in a little way when Areas is going to be needing assistance. This is the time to put foundations for that.
Good. Yeah.
We are, time is not really on our side, and I think I have less than 2 minutes, and probably I will just give you an opportunity very briefly to say, to have your parting shot to our audience.
My parting shot today is that every parent who has the child in the houses, they should bring them in the right, so that they can get assistance from the community. Even today I've got the opportunity to see the doctor, advise us on the way of life. So the other thing is that you believe in God. Regardless of the situation, God is there.
Amen.
And is there with you. So we walk with the journey. God is with us until the time God says,
Asante sana.
Thank you.
Asante Samuel. Prof, briefly, like 30 seconds.
I have really admired you, Sam, especially because of accepting that child. That child does not have other significant people, and those children do not have other significant people except yourselves as a family. You need to be worked with by professionals, and just like I said, you don't have to think about the expense. Think about the ones that you go to chamas with, the ones that you go to church with, and keep on consulting, and let you be told if you're having financial limitations, where you can take your child in institutions or to see specialists who are not going to be so costly, because it's going to be a very long journey. So you need people who can be able to take care of that child without imposing a lot of costs on the care and support that is going to be required. Those children, they have a special place in the family, or they need a special place in the family, and they need to celebrate every day of their own lives.
And they need to celebrate every day of their lives. That is what Prof has said. And also Baba Elias Samuel has said, do not keep this kid, you know, don't hide them, don't lock them into those little boxes or cages. Just bring them out, let them get the help they need. They need to live a normal life. And like, you know, the topic for today was every child needs a chance in whichever aspect of their lives. So I hope you've enjoyed this show, you know, being one of our last shows, you know, on parenting as we get to the end of the year. But I want to believe that you've learned a lot today. Free consultancy here, just like Baba Elias has, you know, said, he's received a lot of information from you, Daktari. And so we just want to say thank you so much for your time, listening, joining us in this conversation, engaging us on our socials. We want to say asante sana to all our viewers and listeners wherever you are, and also not forgetting our partners who, wherever you are, have been holding our hands, and we just want to keep urging you to keep donating and just supporting this worthy cause that the Lord has placed in our hands. Let's minister together, let's reach out people and impact their lives, and you can do this through paybill number 316 316, and the account number will be your name. God bless you, keep you, and shine his face upon you. Let's see each other tomorrow when we'll be doing matters finances on savings and budget. Baraka.